Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Guy Summers Sports Show. Today, we're going to be touching on where the heck is Giannis Antetokoumpo going to go? These sweepstakes continue to drag out. It sounded like the deadline was the NBA draft, but now more people are saying, oh, the Milwaukee Bucks aren't getting the offer that they necessarily want, and this might just drag on longer and longer and longer. Up until July. But that's potentially Brian Windhorst on Get Up today. He kind of made it sound like he said that, oh great, this fell. But that there is a % chance that it drags on because the Milwaukee Bucks aren't getting the offer they want. But the way he kind of worded it kind of made me think, okay, it might be more likely still to happen before the draft. But clearly the Milwaukee Bucks are not liking the Miami Heat's offer. They are the favorite to land them, but my Boston Celtics, we'll see if they can land them. I landed Giannis, but before we dive into all this, let's get to the trivia question of the day. The category is 50 years ago, who won the Heisman Trophy as well as the Maxwell and Walter Camp Awards in 1976? Was it A, Ross Browning, B, Ricky Bell, C, Matt Robinson, D, Tony Dorsett, or E, Wilson Whiteley? I'll repeat the question. The category is 50 years ago. Who won the Heisman Trophy as well as the Maxwell and Walter Camp Awards in 1976? Was it A, Ross Browning, B, Ricky Bell, C, Matt Robinson, D, Tony Dorsett, or E, Wilson Whiteley? Put your answer in the comments. I'll answer that at the end of the episode. Today's football birthdays are Ray Carlton, Bruce Smith, Michael Jenkins, and Antonio Gates. And I think I said Bruce Smith. But happy birthday to the gentlemen. Those are your football birthdays and your trivia question for Thursday, June 18th, 2026. But one other quick thing before we dive in to the Giannis Antetokoumpo sweepstakes and where I think he'll be going and all that stuff, I just want to tell you I will probably be... This won't be for 2 months, but I might want to do a Q&A maybe, right before the college football season starts. The reason I'm telling you guys so early is because if I say it I want to give you guys plenty of time to put in questions because maybe you hear it, but you're not sure. I don't want to just say it a week before. Maybe mentioning it every episode for the next 2 weeks, real quick mentioning it. Maybe then I'll get more questions and stuff to answer. But that'll be right before the college football season, August time period. But yeah, now let's find out let's get into where do I want Giannis Antetokoumpo to go. So right now, the big question in the NBA world is, where the heck is Giannis Antetokoumpo going to go? It sounds like we're pretty much down to the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics. The Miami Heat, they're kind of the favorites. Yesterday or something, Giannis posted something about fire, he's on fire or something, and many people think, hey, that's hinting to the Heat. But like I said, people thought it was going to happen before the draft. Now, a lot of people are saying it could go longer, up until June. Well, this is just annoying. People thought he was going to get traded last offseason, then the deadline, then by the draft, now later and later and later. I think Brian Windhorst said on Get Up, it's kind of like at the trade deadline, where they were looking to shop Giannis Antetokoumpo, but they're not getting the offer they want. It sounds like the Miami Heat are offering Tyler Hero, Khalil Ware, Jaime Vasquez, Junior, I think is his name, and someone else in 3 first-round picks. But you would think that the Milwaukee Bucks really, really, really are going to try to get this done before the draft because the Miami Heat have the 6th overall pick, and this would be included in the trade, and this is a generational draft class. So although 6 isn't super duper high, it is pretty high, and in a generational draft class, which everybody's saying, I get it. Maybe they won't be able to get any of the real generational guys, but they could get someone really good at number 6. And if they ship off Giannis Antetokoumpo, they are going to be going into a rebuild. And then who knows? Would Tyler Hero go to the Milwaukee Bucks, or what the heck would even happen with him? Would they just immediately deal him for for more draft capital, or what would they do? Would it be a 3-team trade? We don't really know, I don't think, too well. I don't really know too well, but it's just an absolutely crazy situation. Now, the Boston Celtics, no one's ever said that they've offered Jaylen Brown. They have offered a trade, but they cannot be seriously thinking that they can land Giannis Antetokoumpo without sending off either Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. But if they could magically find a way, can you imagine how crazy that would be? Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Giannis Antetokoumpo? That would be crazy. But many people are saying Boston doesn't need to make this trade. They are already contenders. They might be better than the Knicks with a healthy Tatum, right? And the Knicks are the defending champs. But the big but with that scenario is they lost to the 76ers. Things need to change. They need to start not relying on threes. They can't just be chucking up threes. If they lose Jaylen Brown, they might be a little bit worse shooting 3-pointers, but they won't be that much worse shooting 3-pointers. And then they'll have that mid-range big man who can dunk in Giannis Antetokoumpo, which is super important. They can be a more versatile team and not just live and die on the 3-point line. They cannot be doing that. That's what lost them the game against the 76ers in Game 7. I guess you could say Tatum was out. That wasn't a healthy Celtics team. But still. And then, if they are offering Jaylen Brown, would it just be straight up? Would the Celtics have to throw in draft capital? Would they have to throw in Peyton Pritchard? Like, what's going on? I think that maybe some draft capital and maybe even Peyton Pritchard. Because Jaylen Brown did have an MVP caliber year, but Giannis is just so good. If I'm the Milwaukee Bucks, I ain't just content with Jaylen Brown. But it sounds like it might be a 3-team trade. And Giannis, so maybe the Bucks wouldn't be landing Jaylen Brown and somebody else would be in this 3-team deal. But yeah, I would prefer for the Celtics to land Giannis rather than the Miami Heat, but it sounds like the Miami Heat are the more likely team. But another thing is, why does Giannis want to go to the Miami Heat? He's looking into and seems like he wants to become a member of the Miami Heat. But why? Why is my question. People are saying they'll just be the southeastern or they'll just be the southeastern version of the Milwaukee Bucks, and that does make sense. Like, why would you other than the weather, why would you rather want to play for the Heat than the Celtics? Because yeah, the weather's better in Miami than in Boston, but you're gonna pick your team based on weather. Because think about it, Boston's a more historic city. Boston's a great city. I've been there. It's incredible. I wanted to live there actually after we left, but and that was actually when they were in the 2022 NBA Finals, the Celtics. But then, and then also, who wouldn't love to play for the Boston Celtics? Either the most historic or second most historic franchise in the NBA, maybe less historic than the Lakers, but they're the most successful franchise. They've won the most championships in 18, and Boston is good right now. The Celtics are good right now with Jason Tatum, Derek White, maybe Peyton Pritchard. I mean, they're championship contenders without Giannis. Throw in Giannis and they'll be legit championship contenders. The Miami Heat, Tyler Hero would be traded, and it sounds like the Heat might have to almost trade everyone except for Bam Adebayo, who they consider untouchable. Bam's good. He's a solid second player because he was the second best player on the Heat's Cinderella run to the NBA Finals in 2023. But is Giannis Antetokoumpo thinking Bam Adebayo is going to drop 83 every night? He definitely isn't thinking that, but really? Bam Adebayo instead of Jason Tatum? Like, why would he rather play for the Heat? It makes absolutely no sense. The Heat didn't even make the playoffs this year. They made the play-in, but didn't make the playoffs. While Celtics got the 2 seed. Jason Tatum and Giannis Antetokoumpo together? That is absolutely terrifying. The league should be scared. Giannis Antetokoumpo and Bam Adebayo, not so much. No offense to Bam, but how Bam Adebayo is going to be remembered? A solid player, and then really just that one insane 83-point game. And yes, he's a 2-time Olympic gold medalist, and I don't think medalist is a real word, but he's not truly a superstar like Jason Tatum is. So I think that Giannis should put that into consideration. But another kind of bold take of mine is, do you really want to gamble your entire future on Giannis Antetokoumpo? I think you do, but there is some things to consider. He had the past 6 seasons, he has not won the MVP. Past 5 seasons, has not won an NBA title. Last 4 seasons, hasn't won a playoff series. The past 4 seasons, yes, they got a 1 seed one of those years and Giannis was hurt, but they lost round 1 to the Heat. The past 4 seasons, they have not won a playoff series. Giannis Antetokoumpo has not won a playoff series in the last 4 years. He's won 1 playoff series in the last 5 years. That was against the Chicago Bulls. I mean, seriously. They didn't even make the play-in this past year. Yes, Giannis was hurt. And yes, he's still been playing at an MVP level, but he hasn't won an MVP in 6 years, title in 5 years, and hasn't even won a playoff series in 4 years. He's still playing great, and I'm not saying it's his fault necessarily, but maybe put that into consideration. Giannis has not been super duper successful lately, so maybe just keep that in the back of your mind on all this stuff. But this is just getting crazy. I hope Giannis gets traded before the draft. I still think he will get traded before the draft. I'm leaning more towards the Miami Heat. I'm leaning more towards him joining the Miami Heat. But it's going to be a fun time. And we'll see how much longer do these sweepstakes go on. I feel like the consensus is he's gonna get traded. More likely than not getting traded is kind of what I think. Because Giannis, if he goes back to Milwaukee and signs a max contract extension, I'm gonna be like, what the heck are you doing, Giannis? You cannot be signing a max contract extension. But yeah, absolute craziness in the Giannis Antetokoumpo sweepstakes. Where is he going to go? We shall see. Well, before I end this episode, let's get to the trivia question of the day. The category is 50 years later. Who won the Heisman Trophy as well as the Maxwell and Walter Camp Awards in 1976? Was it A, Ross Browning, B, Ricky Bell, C, Matt Robinson, D, Tony Dorsett, or E, Wilson Whitley? The answer is D, Tony Dorsett. The Pitt running back had the Hall of Fame caliber year in 1976. USC running back Ricky Bell was the Heisman runner-up. So yeah, that is your answer to your trivia question for Thursday, June 18th, 2026. And that is it for this episode of the Guy Summer Sports Show. We'll see where Giannis goes, but tell me in the comments, where do you think Giannis Antetokoumpo is going to go and when? Before the draft or after the draft? But yeah, that's it for this episode of the Guy Summer Sports Show. If you like this kind of content, I would really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe, and then I'll see you next time on the Guy Summer Sports Show. Bye now.